Alabama and Tennessee play on Saturday. It's the annual third Saturday in October showdown, one of the great rivalries in college football. And in my mind, it's number one. And it's going to be awesome to talk with Tyler Ivens from the Sports Animal in Knoxville about this rivalry. But before we do, I want to invite all you guys to be part of the Bama Tailgate channel, Bama Tailgate on YouTube. Here's your invitation to the big party. So you're invited, Tyler. What's up, dude? How you been?
I will tell you this. I don't know what it is, man. If my great grandparents were still alive, if some of my grandparents were still alive, they'd be like, "What are you doing on an Alabama show? You can't just." And I'm just like, "It's fine, it's fine." Like growing up, because I'm so numb to everything that Alabama and Tennessee have kind of gone through, streaks one side, streaks the other.
Mm-hmm.
I like Bama. I like going down to T-Town. I like walking the campus that is Tuscaloosa. I enjoy the people of Tuscaloosa. Me personally, it's 41 degrees outside. It's pouring down rain. I'm miserable. Tennessee's 5-1. Alabama's 5-1. But I'm not going to let that ruin my day. Mick Gillispie, how are you, dude?
Great, man. I'm excited about this matchup. I feel like Alabama's kind of going this direction and Tennessee's kind of here, so it makes it an interesting game. I mean, last year Tennessee beat Alabama 52-49, and it was like a totally different type of offense for the Vols, which surprises me, right? Because what Alabama's really weak to is what a lot of teams had trouble with, and that's spread everyone out, get 5 receivers running deep, and then Hendon Hooker hit them with long passes. Joe Milton really hasn't been able to do the same thing this year for the Vols.
I think what we're looking at, and it's, man, has it provided for great content locally on our show here on the flagship station, because it's such an enigma to really what this offense is this year. Now, I say that, but maybe perhaps the offense has been this season all along, and we've just expected them to break out of a funk, but it hasn't been a funk. When you look at Joe Milton, he's built like the statue of David. Guys, he's got everything. He's the arm, the body, the smile. He looks like an NFL Christmas Day, take him out of the box, ready to play with NFL quarterback. But then when you watch him during a game, Mick, you sit there and immediately ask yourself, is he processing things as quickly as other people do? I remember I was talking to do a show with the VFL and the Heisman runner-up, Heath Schuler, and I said, Heath, what is you can't be Joe, but if you see his mechanics and you watching it from this 100-foot view, what do you see? And he says, what I see is somebody who, when they're gifted with a lightning bolt arm, when they have this bolt and they can just rip it in there, sometimes they'll let the read or they'll let the look develop a second too long, but they can make up that difference because of how hard they throw. Brett Favre did it often. Brett Favre wasn't the best reader, but he knew, I'm going to be able to cannonball this sucker through there. Elway, better reader, but maybe Elway isn't the best because he was a great reader that had a great arm. Favre is probably the better example, where he was a little delayed on the read. Usually you throw it to where you want them to go, not where they are. But both Favre and Joe Milton have that kind of the ability, because of how strong their arm is screw it, I could rip it through there anyway. At times this year, the slow read has ended up costing Joe Milton. He came into the season without throwing an interception, and now I believe he's thrown 3, baby. Point is this. If Tennessee is going to continue to live off this strong, can't beat us defense and our elite running game, who right now their leading running back, Jalen Wright, is averaging over 7.5 yards per carry, you can do that. You can. It's not going to be sexy football like it was last year, where Tennessee was changing out light bulbs in the scoreboard and having to refill up the cannons for the fireworks. But Tennessee cannot have a quarterback or allow their quarterback to constantly put them in holes where he's giving the other team, the other opposition, chances to add up. That Florida game, their only blemish this year, Tennessee held on to the football for 7 minutes in the first quarter. The best way to keep Josh Heupel's offense off the scoreboard is keep him on the sideline, and that's what's happened right now. It's just not the same Tennessee. It's the same Tennessee, how they're winning games. It's not the same way. It's this is the way I would put it, and you would get it, Mick. Pizza's good. Like, there's great pizza, and then there's amazing pizza, and then there's, well, it's good. It's pizza. Josh Heupel's team this year offensively is it's pizza. I'll eat it. I'll watch it. it's pizza. I'll eat it, but it's not fantastic pizza.
Right, right. Yeah, and I guess that's a great description. I mean, even the way that they beat Texas A&M Saturday at Neyland, really rocking stadium, and it was like a punt return and some defense and got some turnovers. And you win the game 20-13 with a lot of running. And you mentioned Jalen Wright, Jabari Smalls able to get in there. And the crazy thing to me is that Alabama just played at Texas A&M, and they had a tough time running the football, and they're a pretty good running team. To see Tennessee just, freight train them at the line of scrimmage. Now, it seems like when Tennessee gets inside the 20s, that's where the struggles start. But at the same time, like moving the ball down the field with the run game, which is totally different than last year, isn't a problem for these guys.
Yeah, you pointed it out there. For whatever reason, and it's a question that has to be asked. Heupel's next availability is Wednesday, if not Thursday of this week. And I'm just gonna ask him whenever I'm there, what has been the issue of slowing down? Because that's really what's leading to what I believe is the struggles in the red zone. Last year, Tennessee was getting a snap off 3 times every minute. Like, think about that for a second. You ran 3 plays in a minute. They were so good from line, snap, completion, ball, move, spot, snap, ball, move. They were so fluid. Click, 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 click. And a lot of people started asking this year, Mick, oh, well, it's NFL rules now. We're not going to stop the clock unless it's before the half under 2 minutes, like in the NFL for a first down. Maybe that will end up stunting the growth of a lot of offensive speedsters or no huddle or up-tempo offenses. The results through a half a season have shown, in fact, it hasn't really diminished much. And the teams that were still going up-tempo are averaging on par the same numbers they did last year. Tennessee, though, for whatever reason, last year they were averaging a snap every quick 19 to 21 seconds.
Right.
Now we're talking about something every 34 to 36 seconds. And now what you're doing is those 3 a minute are now turning into 1.5, 2 a minute. And that's starting to take away, essentially, you can do the average of about 12 to 18 plays a game. Tennessee's numbers from last year is down 15. When they go to the line of scrimmage in the red zone, pace, tempo, they get under center, Joe parks it. And Joe wants to make sure he has everything that he needs. He's got his hand over the center. He's looking at his coordinators, and he turns back, and it's almost as if, like, once he gets under center, when he should be here, he is sitting there manicuring his offensive line. Yeah, come on. And I know I'm glad this is a visual because this would be so bad if, in fact, it wasn't. But the point is, Joe, for whatever reason, wants to make sure that when he's setting up the dinner table, that the forks, the knives, and the spoons are perfectly spaced out. When in reality, get the ball out and let your playmakers make plays. Joe, it seems like, is so OCD and infatuated with. I thought this would change when they got Cooper Mays back. Because when they were dealing without, in my opinion, the most important part of their team, Cooper Mays, he can get to the line of scrimmage and go, yes, let's go. And it's on, and then that's when you got your snap. Joe was having to play not only quarterback, leader on the football field, but then he had to make sure that everything was perfect. I's, T's crossed, dotted. Right. Now we go. Tennessee, though, for whatever reason, now 2 games, South Carolina and Texas A&M, they have dramatically slowed down tempo in the red zone. And I think that ends up hurting them because you're giving these teams an extra beat to be able to stay on par with you. Right now it's working. And until somebody comes in and says, nope, we're speeding you up again, Tennessee, I think, is going to stick this way. You brought up the stat in closing. You said, Alabama, who's a relatively good running team, had issues being able to run on Texas A&M. Yeah. Tennessee had more rushing yards at halftime than Arkansas and Alabama had combined in the 8 quarters that they had played Texas A&M.
I know, it's crazy.
For whatever reason, Tennessee was able to go, there it is, pop. There it is, pop. And they were able to continue to move the chains with the ground game. Had you told me that Tennessee was going to play Texas A&M style of football and still win this game, I'd called you nuts. I'd have handed you a canned beer and said, get away from me. I don't have time for this. Right. But the point is this. Tennessee's finding new ways to win, and I don't think they should apologize for it.
No, look, I mean, winning the game's what matters, right? Now, Alabama fans are And I'm sure the team is too, a little disappointed with the way they closed against Arkansas. You know, they had to hold on to what was a 24-6 lead to win 24-21, and it was very uncomfortable. You know, Tennessee had the punt return and kind of a back and well, I don't even know if it was back and forth, but it felt like a arm wrestling match. You know, watching that game, and I listened to some of it. You guys do a fantastic job with the pre and post game stuff on the Sports Animal. I think that the radio coverage around the broadcast is the best in college football. And I know you're a part of that.
Thank you.
What is it about Tennessee's defense that's made them one of the best in the SEC?
Senior leadership. I just think it's that point in time now where you, Nick, you ever watch a basketball game whenever they roll out the starting five and you hear a senior, a senior, a senior, and you're like, oh, okay. This year in the Virginia game, when they opened up in Nashville, Tennessee, 10 of their starting 11 were seniors or redshirt seniors. Mm-hmm. Or even if they hadn't played their time at Tennessee, they went to the transfer portal and they were loaded in 21, 22, 23 upperclassmen, COVID, injury, whatever it may be year. Tennessee still on a regular basis is putting 9 to 10 out there starting as seniors. They've had some other guys that have made their way into the starting lineup, and they have continued to develop. I think it's just because you got 22-year-old kids who have had a chance to go through college 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Some people would say it's a lazy answer. Oh, because of where they are, how long they've been. And it may be a little bit of kind of a cheap answer, but in reality, it's this. Tennessee went to the transfer portal, and they got guys who they love hitting people. There's a lot of people defensively in Tennessee the last couple of years. I'm afraid they didn't want any. And what I mean by that is if you'd watch them in coverage, these arm tackles, these turnstile tackles, or these kind of like a non-embracive type of just, come on. They thought they were playing two-hand touch, or they thought that the guy coming at them had a red jersey on, like they were in practice. And you would just sit there and go, you can't tackle like that in college football, let alone the SEC. This year, it seems like that they added emphasis. You're going to tackle somebody, or we're going to find somebody who can tackle somebody. I think there have been people who were under fire last year who simply were told either make a play or enter the transfer portal. And a lot of those guys who were up for the challenge, well, simply put, they're playing good football this year. I also believe that there is been an emphasis this year of we want to see people be able to go out there and make a name of themselves going to the NFL from Josh Heupel's program defensively. Mm-hmm. Last year, they were able to move Byron Young to the NFL draft, but a lot of people were still focusing on, Jalen Hyatt, yards after catch, Darnell Wright, violence at the offensive line. I think that there's been a little bit of emphasis put on this program of, it's just Josh Heupel's offense. I mean, brother, do you know anybody out there in any college football land? We could cover any program, Mick. Do you think we're going to get phone calls about the defense more than the offense? No. And then when you have a on steroids, over-juiced type offense like what Heupel runs, of course everybody wants to talk about how many points you can score. Nobody wants to talk about last year's 52-49 game. It's just like, they scored 52 points on Bama. Woo!
Right.
They gave up 49. No. 52 points. 52 points. They gave up 49. It's just like, nobody wants to talk about that. I think this year, Tennessee, now did I think they'd be this good? Absolutely not. Mick, they currently rank number 1 in points allowed in conference play this year.
Yeah, seen that.
Offensively, they rank 12th in points scored in conference.
That's crazy. So different than what I expected.
What is going on here? Sometimes I can't even put my finger on it, brother.
Do you think that Nico's eventually going to get in, or are they going to stick with Milton the rest of the season?
Don't mess with the blackjack player when he's on a heater.
We just keep him in there.
Unless he gets hurt. Outside of an injury, I don't think you see Nico this year. Unless, you'll see him in the UConn game if things get out of hand. You'll see him against Vanderbilt if things get out of hand, sure. But the second, and here's the thing, and we have to explain this often. The second you pull Joe Milton as your starting quarterback, you can't take him back.
I agree with that. Yeah. Let the kid, develop as a backup, and then, eventually, and he's a 5-star. How do you say his last name?
Molly, like Molly, Ava. Molly Ava.
Okay. All right. Molly Ava. All right.
Yeah. Molly Ava.
You handicap games Give me your breakdown of this one, and then we're going to talk cigars. The spread's like 9.5 or 10, which I can't believe. Bama favorite. I would have put this thing at like 6 or 5.
Oh, so at the beginning of the season, they started releasing. There's an offshore book that I follow often, and they started rolling out major college football. They rolled out like 40 major college football spreads for 23. And they released the Bama Tennessee spread early, like June, and Alabama was an 8.5 point favorite. And I was like, okay,
there.
Let's see if they'll pull it. And they pulled it a couple times, but they brought it back. It was like 8.5 still. So Tennessee had 3 games that came out early. And I only touched 2 of them, and one of them wasn't Bama. I got on the Tennessee Carolina spread when it first came out, and I've gotten on the Tennessee Georgia spread, which right now Georgia's a 7.5 point favorite coming to Knoxville.
Ooh.
So they said 8.5
without Bowers.
So this was in June.
I know, but I'm just saying they're coming without.
There's no. Now when this sucker finally gets they've already pulled it now. So when it comes around November, yeah. But I chatted
Unless
with a buddy.
He's back. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I have a buddy who works in Atlanta. He covers the Georgia beat for them over at the Fan. And he was just like, man, this Bowers news is, I was like, got $100 says he's back November 18th against Tennessee. And he just laughed.
Right.
So to answer your question, I think this spread is spot on.
Really?
Yeah. Now
you worry about Tennessee being able to score against Alabama, being in Tuscaloosa. The Tide takes their deep shots. They hit on a lot of those, but they're going to get sacked 5 times. I mean, you can go ahead and write that in, right? And if they and what happened in Arkansas, they didn't turn the ball over. Neither team did. You think Tennessee is going to turn it over?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. Tennessee, and the one thing that nobody wants to talk about, because the easy answer is always, well, every environment in the SEC is hostile. And I'm not even trying to pull a Gary Danielson, trying to compare Knoxville to Oxford, Mississippi. No offense.
I got to ask you a question about Gary.
I love the SIP, but come on. I'm just,
right.
There's no difference between 80 and 100,000 fans. Hey, Mick, if I took 20 grand out of your salary, you think there'd be a difference? Yeah. Sure.
Oh yeah, there is. Did Gary say that?
Oh yeah.
All right, finish your thought, and then let's talk about Gary Danielson, because I brought him up on this channel before.
Tennessee has a real problem with hostile environments. They do. Florida, they pooped their pants this year. They couldn't hear. Their cadence was off. Silent count went absolutely toilet bowl by the end of the first quarter. Before that, South Carolina last year, sure, you lost 10 in the third quarter. That game was already over. Before then, Georgia, a coworker of mine is saying it's not that loud at Georgia. To an extent, I agreed with him.
You talking about Ainge?
Yeah, I know where the state. Well, hang on. Here's the field, and their crowd is out here. So I get what Ainge is saying.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stadiums in the SEC you go to, they're right on you.
Texas A&M. Yeah,
Georgia, you have to if you're at your loudest, it maybe isn't getting to you like other fans are hearing all the time.
Yeah.
If I'm Georgia, first thing I do, man, as soon as the season's over, I go to the renovations and I'm like, move those stands in a little bit. But they love their bushes, whatever. They love the bushes.
The hedges.
The hedges. I should probably refer to them as what they are, between the hedges. Yeah. Tennessee has a problem. A real problem. I mean, go back to last year when they smacked LSU around. If that's a night game, they probably don't win that game. But they put a 50-burger up on them because it's a noon kickoff.
Yeah.
I think unless something has changed where Tennessee doesn't go down to Tuscaloosa and they can completely ignore everything that's happening around them, I think for whatever reason, slow Joe's read, the inability to be able to get a push from the offensive line with the running game, Mick, I'm off by a point here, but if you told me gun to head or you handed me $100 and go bet this for me, I'd say, man, I'd really like this line at 10, but I'll take Bama and throw the points. And I'm not even juicing you up because I'm doing your thing on your channel.
No, I know you. You tell me.
Money's money, man. And I wouldn't juice you one way or the other.
Yeah, I don't know. I see it. I see where they're coming from, but this Alabama team is just so hard to figure out on our end. I mean, we just can't. We we look at them and, they're terrible, and then they're good, and then they're really good, and then they're
Right.
terrible again. And the offensive line and the snapping and all that. And then all of a sudden, like, everything goes wrong, and the guy stands in the pocket, takes a hit, throws 3 passes for 3 touchdowns, and you win the game, So there's a lot of things to correct, but I do love Nick Saban in these rivalry games. I don't think it's going to be hard, unlike Arkansas, to get up for Tennessee. All right, let's talk. I want to ask you about Gary Danielson, and then we're going to talk cigars. But so we were talking about him on the channel, and my take is I think he's probably a good dude. I don't know him, but I can't stand listening to him. Like, he just is like nails on a chalkboard to me, and I don't understand why CBS would put someone on that we can't stand. And then it just seems like everybody feels like they can't stand him. At least our fan base can't stand him. What about Tennessee? What about you? I mean, are you guys kind of in the same boat? Like, get the guy off my screen. I'll tell you this, Tyler, you and I, you're Tennessee, I'm Alabama, but you and I have been we drink beer, or actually like very good scotch and smoke cigars. We may totally differ on our teams, but we'll sit there and hang out and have a blast. If Gary Danielson was at the bar, I'd be like, check, please. I'm getting out of here.
Gary Danielson is very unique. It is. I'll say this. There are times where he feels like he has an agenda that he has to get across. Like, there are times Gary Danielson, when he wants to talk ball, there are times he educates me and I go, I don't have to Google that. That actually makes a whole lot of sense. I guess kudos to you, Gary. Thank you.
Right.
But then it seems like he's that. You ever had that aunt who just won't let anything go, or that mom who just your mom tells you, if you're home a minute later, every minute my mother, this was my mom when I was in high school. When you're a junior in high school, your curfew's 10. Your senior year of high school, your curfew's 11, unless we agree. When you're 18, you can come home whenever you want. Every minute you're past your curfew without previous some type of notification, without us agreeing it, that's a day you don't have your car. So I remember one day I got home at 10:03. I dropped my girlfriend off late. We came back from a movie. I got caught at a red light. I pulled in at 10:03. And my mom's like, there's no discussion. You don't have your car for 3 days. 3 days would come and go. I'd get my keys back, but then we would go together for a family reunion, or we'd go out for Thanksgiving and be like, well, Tyler had to learn 3 days of that. I'm like, Mom, that was 4 months ago. And she would just continuously beat it over my head and have to bring it up or have to make a comment about that one time. It just seems like there are some people out there, they love to be able to rub dogs' noses and dog poop on the carpet. And it's like that. The dog's been potty trained for 3 years. Why are we bringing up something that happened 4 years ago?
Right.
Gary Danielson, if he loves to be the smartest guy in the room, and if he does prove you wrong on something, like if Brad accidentally misses a goal, that kick looks like it's good. No, I don't think that will. Oh, no, it's no good because he had a bad angle because of the sunlight, and it happens. You're a broadcaster. Sometimes the monitor will fool you in your eyes. And Gary's like, yep, just a little bit too much there on that. And they come back from break, reset. Nobody saw. Let's move on to the next play. They got the ball on the 19-yard line. I mean, Brad, it's like you thinking the ball went through the upright, and then it's just like, I got it. Move on. And it's just, Gary doesn't care, man. He just comes in, pulls his pants down, and just deuce all over your broadcast. He doesn't care.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's exactly what he does.
Yeah. All right, cigars. You're a cigar guy. You're up in Knoxville, Smokies. Yeah. That's when I'm up there. That's my cigar spot. We do R&R in Tuscaloosa. So Tennessee fans that are coming down, you're gonna pick up a stove, go by R&R Cigar, the Cigar Mansion in downtown. What are you smoking? There you got one right there. What are you going for if Tennessee wins? What are you smoking on right now? Give me some cigar talk.
So I don't hype it, pun intended. This has been my go-to cigar since I could actually start affording good cigars. Because whenever you're younger, you're just kind of like, oh, what's this? And you don't know how to pronounce the brands because you don't know anything about it. What's this Romeo Juliet type? And you buy these cigars because it's like, all right, it tastes good, it's awesome, whatever, move forward. This cigar I have in my hand, it is an Oliva V. And the Oliva series is, to me, I can smoke. I've extended my palate. Nerd talk, here it comes. I've expanded my palate to a way where I'll have certain brands after a steak, after I cut the grass, with a coffee, with a bourbon. my palate's just weird about that. Just like anybody else who likes marble on their steak or how they want it, be able to marinate it, everything. It's a hobby. You just teach yourself, and you know what you like and you know what you don't like. This Oliva V has been my go-to now for about 5 years. Last year, I'm at the Tennessee-Alabama game, and I'm talking to Jabari Davis, VFL. He's starting his own line of cigars, and he's so
I've had
great.
those. Yeah, those are good.
So he's trying the different the different binders and the different blends of tobacco and something everybody does. Try something new, just like scotches and beverages and beers, whatever. It's whatever you want. I remember talking to Jabari, and he's just like, yeah, I'm trying to make sure if we actually win this game tonight, that I get this cigar to Coach. I want Coach to try this. And Al Wilson was down there. He had cigars in his hand. All these VFLs that were in-house hoping for the game was over. Kit goes to the uprights, pandemonium, fans storm the field. We know what happens. So I'm sitting there, and I'm back near the locker room area, and I'm watching Heupel come through, and of course the state troopers are doing the Bono block. Nobody can touch the U2 leader. And Hype comes through, and I'm sitting there, and I'm off to the side of my own business, and I sit there and I look, and I just see this label popped out of his mouth, and I go, is he smoking a V? What is this? So he goes in the locker room post game and everything, and I go through Twitter, and somebody from the Knoxville News Sentinel has gotten a shot of him, and he is smoking a Melanio Figurado from Oliva V. And I'm like, my damn, he's smoking the same brand of cigars that I do, but he just had a different cut. It was a torpedo cut of the Melanio V. I was like, this is fantastic. Good for him. Coaches, either somebody gave him this cigar and he's like, whatever, pop it in my mouth. Or if he does genuinely enjoy these, good for him. Mick, that damn photo made it across social media. And in 3 days, I go to my local cigar shop, because I always shop local, because, I can buy them online, but I want to shop local and take care of the people in the community.
Right. Gone.
All 14 boxes of the damn cigar are gone, and I can't even buy my cigar now. So I'm just like, you've got to be. Now, granted, they had like Toros, and they had like the different Churchills and things of that nature, but they didn't have my Melanio Figurado, the same cut that I like. And then we came to an agreement. Oh, it's all a joke now because I endorse them now. They always make sure they keep a box there so I can shop local.
Right.
The old Black Beauty I have right here beside me in my humidor, sometimes she can't hold as many as I'd like. But the point is I adjust my hygrometer here. The point is, anything Heupel touches has just turned into an absolute just King Midas gold mine, and it's keeping old Tyler Ivens with not having his favorite cigars when he needs them here in this town. So, you know me, dude. There are 3 things I love in my life. 3 things. I love a good smoke. I love good radio, and I love my family and the people who are closest to me. I think that's why you and I get along so well, is because we're not afraid to kick back and just be like, man, how the hell are you? And it's very genuine. And anything that we talk about or touch, our families, or, or you have an awesome kid, and just, we love baseball. We love football. We love sports. We love fellowship. We love we're very passionate about it. It's not just a hobby. It's in our blood, man. And that's why you're such a relatable dude. The very first time I met you, blowing smoke up Mick's ass. Here we go. Very first time I met you, I was like, oh, look at this. Mick Gillispie is about to be my emergency contact. What's up, dude?
Yeah, we've had some good times, man. I got to say this in closing, and I don't know, we'll probably be the only 2 that will get this, but before kickoff, let's have a toast for our man, John Adams. We lost during COVID. You and I used to go to Smokies and, drink his like 100-year-old scotch and smoke cigars with him. Man, I miss that guy. He wasn't an Alabama fan. He wasn't a Tennessee fan. He was a Florida fan, right?
No, he went to Mizzou.
That's right. He did. He went to Mizzou. That's right. He just came from
Florida. And he would poke fun at me. We didn't say goodbye to each other. We didn't say hello to each other. He would literally be sitting in his recliner or that soft sofa chair, whatever it was. And whenever he'd make eye contact with you, his hello and his goodbye was always M-I-Z. And you had to reply Z-O-U every time you saw him. So he is, yeah, man, he's missed. And, on iPhones, they always have that. They always have that picture. If you slide to the side, there's always that picture that always, your picture of the day.
Yeah.
The other day, I was in the middle of something driving quickly, and I was like, oh, this is dangerous. I shouldn't do this. And I quickly flip open my phone, and there's a photo of him and I was like, I miss that guy so much.
Yeah.
I will 100% do that right before kickoff. So whenever you get that video popped up in your phone, you're going to be like, oh, there's Ivens. I know he's drinking. And that's absolutely what happens. Yeah.
Let's do that. All right, brother. Well, great to talk to you. Tell people how they can follow you.
Dude, I appreciate you. It's actually right there. You can see it right there on the title of the channel right there. It's the same 10 characters, my first and last name. I do stuff for the Rivals page as well as just as a small contributor, but mainly I'm afternoons, my buddy Will West, 3 to 7 on the flagship station there in Knoxville, Tennessee. So, you know what? I'll say this, man. It's so weird. Anytime I say this on the air, the people who are over the age of like 50 just scoff and roll their eyes. I like Bama fans. I know it's a big rivalry between Tennessee and Alabama. I liked Bama fans when Casey Clausen was doing overtime things, and I liked Bama fans when they've lost before last year. They're good people. They're enjoyable people. And you know what? If they're the reason why the SEC is continuing to climb the mountaintop, I'm just trying to climb in the backpack. So I can tell you right now, this is going to be a hell of a game. And both teams right now are Tennessee, essentially, is fighting for their SEC lives. So if you want November 18 to matter when Georgia comes to Knoxville, guess what? You got to beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa, which we already know is a tall task within itself, dude. I just appreciate a few minutes of your time.
Yeah, thanks, brother. And I hate to ask one more, but I mean,
go.
You just kind of brought it up to me. What if they ended the rivalry with the new scheduling?
So now we're opening up a completely different rabbit hole.
I know but it's just like it dawned on me. I didn't ask you that.
So here it is. Why do I get along with Alabama fans so well? It was because my focus on Tennessee's rivalry is elsewhere. Brother, I can't stand the Philadelphia Phillies. I just can't. I don't get along with Philadelphia Phillies fans.
Right.
I can't watch NLCS baseball because the Phillies, Man, Tyler, you must really not like the Philadelphia Phillies. There's only one team in all of sports I despise more than Philadelphia. It's the Florida Gators. I hate Florida. Like I don't if you're a Gator fan watching this, I assume you wear jean shorts and make meth. I just assume that's what you do. When we found out, now Sankey hasn't concreted this, but we have it on pretty damn good authority that after this year, when they eliminate the divisions, every SEC team out of the 16, Oklahoma, Texas, they're going to have their 3 common opponents every year.
Right.
We have it on pretty good authority that Tennessee's 3 is going to be Alabama, Vanderbilt, South Carolina.
Oh, that's a great 3 for you guys.
Now, well, there's some people who were like, what do you mean we lose the Florida series? That's why, Tennessee shouldn't have lost to Florida this year, but they did. They did.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it stung so much was because if there was any year to beat Florida, this was the year. If there was any year to beat Florida in the swamp, this was the year. And you probably don't know the next time you're going to see them again because they're going to now be out of your rotation. So now this is going to be something that's stuck in your craw for at least next year they're going to play, but they're going to play in Knoxville, and then you don't know when you're going to see them again.
Right.
There are other people who were like, you've played Kentucky for over 100 years. Why are you not keeping that border war? This is the difficult part the SEC has to deal with, is making sure you have one really difficult opponent, Alabama, one opponent that's kind of not difficult, easy, Vanderbilt, and then you need the middle team.
Right.
It's either Kentucky or South Carolina. Based on how things have gone the last couple of years, Carolina's is kind of this new blood rivalry. I think that's going to end up being the 3. And I think that Alabama, because you could tell, even though they're getting rid of divisions, Mick, the 2 games they wanted to keep. SEC, who's like SEC tradition, there's no tradition anymore. But if there was a let's keep tradition as best as possible, there's no possible way they were going to do additions of Missouri A&M in 12 and then the additions of Oklahoma and Texas in 24 and not go Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee. Those have to stay. So if you're LSU or Georgia, how do you find a way to make sure you don't overload one of their schedules with difficulty because they have to guarantee still play each other? And the same
Right. Well,
thing
that's
with
Bama.
Alabama.
I mean, Bama's got Tennessee, Auburn, and they wanted LSU. I mean, that's to me like they're all three very difficult opponents for Alabama.
And that's why I say, and that's
where's Mississippi State? I'd rather have Mississippi State than LSU just to have that Vanderbilt,
There's got to be some level of fairness because, there were a lot of people reporting that Saban was like, let's move to 9 games. Let's move to 9 games. And then during the spring meetings, Dennis Dodd comes out and goes, I'm hearing Nick Saban's not for the 9-game schedule anymore. And everyone's like, why?
That's
going
why.
on?
Yeah, I mean,
and
look, you got 2 wins in there.
Opponents are, and you're like, this isn't even me hammering Saban or Bama fans. People know. Like, yeah, we get it. It's the same 16. It's the toughest conference in college football. I get it.
Right.
We're all just taking a step back. If I'm Alabama, let's have a little bit of fairness. I get that we've got championships and it's Nick Saban and it's the whole I'm a nightmare for any team I play, but let's have a little bit level of fairness. Like it's not, I mean, look, I like the rivalry too, and I like pumping my fists and being like, boo you, but let's be reasonable here.
Yeah.
If I'm Alabama and everybody else is kind of getting the valet treatment when I pull up to the 5-star restaurant, yeah, who says I have to walk from the back parking lot? I need a little bit of valet treatment. Let's be fair.
Yeah. Awesome.
Let's be fair.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, always great talking to you, brother.
Anything you need at any time, you give me the ring and ding on La Telefono.
Yeah, there's my man. I love their show, by the way, guys. It comes on the Sports Animal every evening, him and Will West, and got a great new producer on there, and Eric Kaner comes on too.
That
love
animal.
The show.
He's out there getting married and doing things with other people at other times.
I know.
He's
gotten big on us. He's gotten big time on us.
Seriously, dude. I put my pants on just like you do, Eric Kane, when I find him. Chill out. Yeah.
Eric Kane, now with On 3, at least last time I checked, right?
Yeah. God, who knows who he's collected a paycheck from? I think he just gave plasma the other day. Who knows where he's getting money from?
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. If you're not part of our channel, it's really easy to do. Here's your invitation to the tailgate party, the Bama Daily, the Bama Tailgate Daily, here every single day. And then Friday, don't forget, we'll be at Innisfree. We're going to start the show around 4:30 this week, and it's going to be like a 3-hour edition. So if you're in Tuscaloosa, come by and see us.